a promoter of fraud, a supporter of illegality, and champion of rigging. I've seen rigging in diverse forms since I started politics. I've seen ballot paper snatching, I've seen ballot paper stuffing, I've seen pocket of violence, I've seen inflation of results. But what happened in Kogi is legendary. It's never happened in the history of mankind. It's never happened south of the Sahara or north of the Limpopo. What I saw is unimaginable. What I saw is wicked, is barbaric.
Are these reports coming from your agents, or you were going around the polling?
These are not agents. These are issues that I have documentary evidence. For example, I will start by what happened in the 2019 election, using the Kanu local government as an example. In 2019, APC, during the governorship election, wrote results for Okene local government to the tune of 112,000. Wrote results to the tune of 112,000. And PDP was given less than 1,000. But those were era where there was no beavers. So that could be explainable because there was no beavers accreditation. It was manual accreditation.
2019.
2019.
There was card reader.
No, but not beavers.
Yes.
So what I'm saying
the card
in
reader
essence,
was working not almost as the beavers.
But card reader, you cannot compare with beavers.
Yes, that's true.
There was no transmission at that time of results to the server.
Upload of results.
Upload of results,
yes.
Yeah. So, and what we had actually then was not even the card reader used. It was a manual accreditation. So, in 2023, February this year, that beavers was introduced. Beavers was used in Okene local government. In the presidential elections, in the National Assembly elections, and in the State House of Assembly election. Lo and behold, February this year, in Okene local government, APC had 20,000 votes because of the introduction and usage of beavers. The PDP had 12,000 votes. Put together, votes cast in Okene local government was less than 40,000. Just in February this year. But in the election on Saturday, in the same local government that could not produce 40,000 votes, said APC had 130-something thousand votes. And vote cast is close to 150,000. Meanwhile...
But you need to also find that those number of accredited voters...
If you allow me, I'm coming to that.
You're getting to that, okay.
If you say over close to 150,000 people voted, and total registered voters in Okene local government is 151,000. PVC collected is far less than that. And your votes cast is 150,000, 97.8% voted. You know definitely that is practically impossible. Meaning people did not die. Those who are outside the milieu of Kogi all came back. There were no, I mean, it's even in America, in the UK, you can't get 97, 98%, turnover of voters. And I am talking about registered voters. I'm not talking about PVC collected. I'm saying 97%, 97.8% of registered voters. You know, this is ridiculous. INEC is a garbage. INEC is thinking. Mahmood Yakubu is a fraud.
Sorry, please.
I'm not mincing my words.
No, we need
because
to...
it is manifestly clear.
Senator
it
Melaye.
Is when you start calling a spade in this country.
Senator Melaye.
If I am not allowed
Senator,
to speak the truth.
You can speak the truth, but not with insults.
I'm not insulting anybody.
No, but you have called names.
If Mahmood said it's not fraudulent, he should sue me to court and I will prove to him that it's fraudulent. When result sheets appear on the streets prior to accreditation. He cannot wash his hands of that. It is not possible that documents, sensitive documents that are supposed to be in the central bank, are already on the streets even before accreditation. The buck stops on his table. And even if he had no hand in that, when it was discovered, why will they not carry out amelioration in accordance to the provisions of the law? When you have votes that is more than PVC collected, what do? You cancel such elections. From the documents I have, there was overvoting in 17 local governments. 17 out of 21 local governments, there was overvoting, including my local government, Ijumu local government. Many places where I won and I was pronounced winner, there was no result sheet to record the results.
All this
information,
you got them from your agents who are monitoring the results.
I am a Kogite.
Yes,
I was in Kogi during the election. I have agents in every polling unit of Kogi State. And we had cyclic cameras that was transmitting what was happening in selected polling units directly to the server in my house. So I have first-hand information. And there were people caught red-handed with result sheets prepared.
So you have those in camera? We
have it's all over the place, Ijoma. You cannot tell me in your good conscience that you've not seen some of these videos.
No, when you tell us you have those evidence on camera.
Even as I speak with you now, I've given your studio about 15 different documents. I don't know if one of them can be highlighted. The one that shows the mutilations of results where PDP votes was cancelled and reduced, and APC votes increased, cancelled and increased. Please, can you just highlight some of these results that I gave you on the TV for Nigerians to see? Please, I really want. I've submitted that before.
Senator, don't worry about that.
It's necessary.
They are working on that.
Thank you very much.
If the video if those documents
I gave them those documents.
Okay, they are working on it.
And I really want those documents to be highlighted for
we will do that.
For Nigerians to see original results openly cancelled, where PDP votes were reduced and APC votes increased. And you have a chairman who is a father, who have children, who wants these children not to carry the negative concomitant effect of his misbehavior tomorrow. And he says he prays to Allah 5 times a day. He reads the Holy Quran, and he will allow this type of satanism, this type of wickedness, this type of fraud. We have no other country to call our own but this country, Nigeria. We cannot keep quiet in an unjust society. Silence is a crime.
Thank you.
I wonder how this strike is affecting you so far. But there's so much to unpack. First, this, fire brigade approach to resolving the NLC crisis. All of a sudden, the Senate is weighing in, the House of Reps, the National Security Advisor. Everybody seems to be weighing in. Why wait till now?
I think,
what exactly? Yeah.
Better late than never, but you're right. I mean, when NLCTUC gave this indication clearly, and even went to picket or show some threat to the airport, the National Assembly, the Senate, House of Reps should have been clearly come out smoking. I said, look, you know what, let's mediate. If you look at how much we've lost in these 2 days, even not 100% compliance, but at least very significant compliance across states, that's avoidable waste. Okay. Again, the question, and again, I have to commend Nuhu Ribatu, and NSA has been extremely responsive. That's what leadership should be. I've seen several issues as engaged from stories we got from the NSA themselves. Have been calling the president himself. When this happened, he was one who made a call.
Sorry to cut you. Speaking of which, talking about being responsive, news just coming in has it that the strike has just been called off by organized labor after that meeting you saw earlier before the break. The NLC and the TUC has called off the industrial action owing to the conversation they had with the government. I think you can just write on that because you spoke specifically talking about being proactive.
Yeah, no, but that's been extremely good. And that's it. The modern governance is not about being brutish, being arrogant. It's actually about changing minds. Industrial dispute is an opportunity for government to convince labor. This stereotyping that labor people are, recalcitrant, very bullish guys, is not true. So the rebuttal shows that it's a lie. You can actually talk to them. Now look at the issue. Let's forget about other issues. That NLC president was beaten in the state by persons. The first thing would have happened that the IG would have got people arrested, even if it was ordinary citizen. I mean, it's criminal to batter anybody. Talk less of the president of the largest union in Africa. Now, you get him battered, the IG would have, by now, he will be giving you hourly reports. We've arrested X, we've taken evidence from him, statements from them. They mentioned the SA to the governor of Imo State, Chinas and one area.
So we're not talking about of unknown persons now?
This is not unknown government. Ugochine, honorable member, brilliant guy, he says, and I watched that one with Rochas, when this same person manhandled him. Now, Governor Hope Uzodinma says, I'm the chief security officer. And that's right. His first job is to say, who did this? He would have said, forget the other issues. By the way, even if Ajero was involved in politics, let's assume that's a legitimate preoccupation, that's not criminality. So let's even not go to the points of it. The real responsible line of leadership is to say, we have got the guys, this is the people, and the Labour have no reason to go to. So people say, why should Labour now nationalize this crisis? This is the principle of Labour. So in my view, avoidable strike, responsibility lies with government and the Inspector General of Police. Don't forget that crime prevention and investigation is a federal responsibility, the police. So if it happens in local government area, they mentioned area commander who asked the security. Ajero had about 20 policemen with him because he knew this could happen, wrote to the IG to provide security, wrote to the DG of SSS, went with about 10 police officers, with 6 naval officers. They were ordered to stay back. And the area commander took him, asked those people to stay away, and they had over to the talks to beat him up. So the first thing should have happened is that investigation. So there are some people irresponsibly protecting somebody and then causing the whole nation to suffer. So if not for the Badu's initiative and assurances, it would have been stuck in a strike that shouldn't have happened.
By the way, the same Ribadu came out yesterday telling Nigerians that, well, we're practically in a bankrupt situation right now.
So shouldn't you have a strike?
By the way. So I mean, talking about the leadership and leading from the front that you talk about there. Right. So
I actually wanted us to draw the strike's been called off. But before we go into talking about the economy, because I wanted to weigh in on that before you leave. Now, it's amazing that for the very first time, again, people are getting to hear names of these people who manhandled the NLC president. And now I'm bringing this to the doorstep of the IG. The only thing he did at that point in time was listening to the call for the transfer of the CP in that particular state. So, isn't this a failure of the police, knowing full well that an individual has been fingered and mentioned not once, not twice, as being responsible for this?
It's connivance, complicity, and corruption. Let me tell you, Tiger Base at the government house. The government house is not a police station. You see, it's a generic problem of the Nigerian police. The way police has been personalized and made to become part of governors. If you look at police officers, police stations, the instructions from the governor's office overrides. So the idea is that this IG should now restore the police. The police should be, and that's why you have look at electoral violence. The story is always about somebody to carry the police officers. You saw the video of the civil defense lamenting, mentioned the name expressly, get the same name, that he took police officers and disarmed them. This is recklessness, anarchy, and like Ugochine says, it doesn't speak well of a government that is trying to show its true business, attract investors. You can't tell people to come to subnational economies when those subnational economies, the governors and his aides could actually subvert rule of law. Yeah. So I think that the IG owes a responsibility. Dismantle that Tiger Base at the government house. The government house is not a police station. The governor has his aides, security assigned to him. They shouldn't consider police decks in the government house and where they take people. This is not the first, second, or the third. So I think that I will hold the Inspector General of Police responsible in the federal government for this strike. It was needless. Right. What the band has done, if they have done that over time, Labour has no reason to look. Going to strike weakens Labour itself, weakens the economy. Strike is a last resort tool. It shouldn't be used for things that rule-based process can deal with.
And speaking of which, how do you think all of this, with the calling off of the strike now by the NLC and TUC, how will it impact calls for strikes, going forward in future, especially when there are very serious issues on the table.
I think that's why I use the word weakens.
Yeah.
I mean, strikes should be rarely used. But again, you see, labor was forced. And this is not good. You see, Nigerian government should have what they call corporatist policy. If you look at the Oxfam report on poverty, the lack of labor rights is critical to why we have poverty. They should see labor as a governing partner. Labor shouldn't be going on strike. Government should meet with labor. Labor should discuss with government and work together. They should be working against themselves. And the only way they can work together is for these governors and institutions to have a sense that governance is not about being brutish. I mean, look at the way Roberto has handled this matter. So I agree with you. Labor is forced into these strikes. It's not good for labor. It's not good for the economy.
And I want to jump on the Oxfam report, which speaks to, working together.
Absolutely.
And that brings us to what the same Roberto has told the country. If we're talking about a country that is struggling in terms of paucity of funds, or let's use this word, almost bankrupt,
Absolutely.
then we shouldn't be talking about going on strike.
Absolutely.
It then behoves on the government to always know when to move and act, because they gave 2 weeks and no one said anything, not the National Assembly, not the federal government, until the strike.
Failure, and National Assembly particularly. I mean, National Assembly are the people who care about their people. If you get to him or elsewhere, you see reports about small businesses choking because of light issue. So a responsible National Assembly will be the first to call these guys, not even the governor, because this is a case between labor and executive, so to say. National Assembly will weigh in. In fact, the best partner of labor should be the National Assembly. In the past, we have seen House committees, Senate committees being proactive. They call labor, they will lead labor to the president and get the result. So let's see more leadership. Leadership is not about having 160 million vehicles driving. Leadership is about that. Look at everybody's clout. He's shown clout.
Where do we go from here now? Where does Nigeria go from here? Where does labor go from here? The strike has been called off.
Yes.
But the issues that led to the strike
they
are
come
still
again.
very
So
much
where
there.
to go is
so
where,
how do you resolve those
where
issues
to
so
go
we're not back here?
is where Ugochinyere said, deal with the underlying issue. Accountability. Who beat up Joajero must be tried, prosecuted according to law. There's no strike or no strike that should obscure the fact that a citizen, a leader of, if a president of NLC with his clout and power could be so treated, imagine what journalists who contravene, who offend government, who speak against Imo State government will be going through. There was a case of Nosonkwa, who was literally bungled and brought here, the same tiger base. First, the IG should dissolve that. Why should, the first question, they should explain to us why a government house, whether in Nimo or Anambra or Sokoto or Meduguri or Gombe, should have a police station. You see, that's the point. The governor is not a king. This is a democracy. The police is for the people. The police is not for governors. So the first thing nobody will do as a matter of national security. You see, NSAS was a response to impunity, the unfair policing, criminal policing.
Right.
We should get police back to be responsible. Police should second-guess governors. No governor cannot ask a police officer to go and injure somebody who did nothing. No, we can't do that.
Clearly, yeah.
NLC, TUC, and all of that, they suspended their strike. So the federal government had to realize that they don't have the monopoly of madness. That even though NLC has reduced of its power, it's actually a very powerful trade union. I saw I think it was the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribado, that was saying that they have arrested the people that assaulted the NLC president and all of that. Initially, they had tried to use the court. They said the court had made it illegal for, is it illegal? I always confuse my illegal for them to go on the protest. They Kukuma went on the protest. I saw one of the spokesperson of the NLC where he was saying that the government itself does not obey the court. The executive don't obey the court. How many times did they give ruling for them to put Imefele, Bawa, and all of that on bail? They don't do it. So which court are they now telling others to obey, and that they hadn't seen it? I think initially Tinubu thought that this is Lagos, where he does his local champion and he enslaves everybody there. When he say that, people will be shaking, people will be falling on the ground and dobaling for them. At the federal level, nobody they dobale for anybody. Everybody get in charge. The other day, Umar, he came, the way he used to flog. They say he used to flog his civil servants over there. came to try certain things in Abuja, they didn't give him this thing. Because everything has to, there's what people don't understand. There's process of doing everything. You need to follow the process. It's not that even if you're going to do something good, you can't just come and behave anyhow and say you're going to do anyhow there. Now they had to go out to the negotiating table and negotiate with them and see. But anyway, it's left for NLC whether they will continue to behave very well or behave anyhow. I've said it before severally. NLC should know that governance is part of the things that they should be fighting for. If there's no good governance, there's nobody that's going to enjoy Nigeria. No worker, nobody. All of us will be suffering the suffering. And if they keep hobnobbing with executive, they will keep depreciating. Their power will keep depreciating, and they keep treating them anyhow. They have a power, and they're the ones that they don't even have to be on the street to shut down everything. Share small tooth, how many days where they don't do, everybody don't shake. Head don't they reset. No be small thing. We dey here, just they look them as the thing they go on. We no get plenty talk where we go talk.
We went there to enforce and then close the gate and make sure all our staffs were not in the offices.
There are people being killed every day in Zamfara, in Maiduguri, where we are. The NLC had never came out to go on strike over the issue.
In the South, especially in Imo State, which is expected to be the main theater of the strike, the industrial action surprisingly recorded a partial compliance. Banks, filling stations, both state and federal secretariats in the state remained open for businesses. People were seen going about their normal businesses except some schools that sent their students back home.
This is not a good time for Nigeria to go into strike because people are passing through difficulties.
To say strike for everybody, when people are trying to fend for themselves as everything is hard, it's not really necessary.
In Edo State, the inaugural sitting of the Local Government Election Petitions Tribunal was disrupted by unions picketing several offices by way of enforcing total compliance to the nationwide strike. The tribunal was constituted by the state chief judge to handle complaints that trailed the local government election held in September. Government workers in Cross River State fully complied with the nationwide industrial action. Impact is also being felt in schools as some students decried the delay that the strike will have on their education and are asking the federal government and labor unions to dialogue and resolve the issue speedily. In spite of the industrial actions, several markets still bustle with activities while government offices remain shut.
They should call off the strike so that our school activities can be fast the way we are going and things will be better.
Strike has been a very big catastrophe and has been affecting our school activity. 5 years course metamorphosed to 7 years and all of that. It is heartbreaking.
In Oyo State, the NLC is threatening to picket the Eleyele Ibadan, head office of the Oyo State Transport Company, if the newly approved minimum wage award is not urgently paid to workers under its payroll.
Everything has been resolved amicably. It has to do with the wage award awarded to the state workers by His Excellency a couple of days ago. And some of our members here have not been privileged to have theirs.
Since the pronouncement of the state governor on Monday last week, giving workers of Oyo State 25,000 naira wage award and 15,000 naira to pensioners, workers started getting their alert on Thursday evening. But it's unfortunate that our workers from Peace Center Transport Service have not received their alert up till now.
In Anambra State, a cross-section of businessmen and transporters expressed worry about the current hardship which the industrial action is having on them.
We expect the government to up its game because there is general discontentment in the land.
As mixed reaction trailed the nationwide strike, concerned Nigerians are calling on both labor and federal governments to find a workable and lasting solution to the lingering impasse to avert further havoc